you. I was praying, I was crying every night. Had to make it on my own, cause you.
And how I think worship is changing in Christian culture. I think worship is not a simple topic. I think there's intentional worship and unintentional worship. And I think worship has to do with a posture, but I think it also has to do with an act. I think the posture of worship is a humility before God and a belief system in a way, and a view of the world and a view of life with the perspective that of God as creator and God as supreme. I think the act of worship has to do more with the practice and the decision making when it comes to committing our choices and our plans to the purposes of God and to the pleasure of God and to the intentions of God. I also think worship can be both unconscious and conscious. I think many of us in the Christian community, we can make conscious decisions to devote actions to God and to make plans because we know what we know about God's will revealed in Scripture. But I also think there's an unconscious worshiping of God just because of God's sovereignty. He's so in control of natural law that many of us can't help but submit to him in many ways. When I sleep, am I worshiping God? Well, not intentionally, but my body is performing an act and is doing something that it was designed to do, and it's respecting the natural law. My cells are running through my body. It's like I'm not telling them to run through my body, they're obeying God in a way. And I think this is why Jesus says that even if we don't commit the action of worship, these rocks gonna worship. You know what I mean? The birds gonna worship. Are they making a conscious decision? Not necessarily. But they're following through with the laws of God just because that's how strong God's sovereignty. And Jesus calls us to adopt a certain posture, to think of ourselves and to think of the world in a certain way. And he gives a warning attached to that. And he says, look, man, you need to adopt the posture of worship. You need to believe, you know what I mean? And I think from there is when we actually begin to properly act according to the purposes of God, because we already have the posture, and God promises that once you adopt that posture, he can work with you. He can align you with meaning and the purposes for your life.